Hey, welcome Broken World Entertainment, and this is the review, non-spoiler of course, for episode 5 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters. So, we pick up with our gang taken by Monarch in Alaska. They're being held in different cells. They're trying to get information from them about where Cate and Kentaro's father is, or at least what he was planning. I don't think they're sure that he's alive, and they have Shaw in a completely different cell, but May seems to be the weak link that they're looking at, and the character of Deval, she goes in and pretty much tries to convince May that, oh, you're a clever girl, there's no way your computer was the only computer. I think I forgot to say that in the last review, that the computer with all the files on it got destroyed by the Frost Titan, whatever the hell he was called. And of course, she basically threatens her by mentioning her sister, because she has her two passports, her passport and her sister's passport. And she's saying, like, a smart girl like you would have had a backup. There's no way you'd have just kept the files on that one computer. And leaves her a card. While Tim is trying to convince what is she? She's the deputy director or something of Monarch, whose name is Verdugo, that Cate and Kentaro are basically the heirs to Monarch. It's their legacy. He basically wants to recruit them, and she's like, yeah, no, that's not happening. So then they're like, okay, well, let's put them on a long leash and see where they deliver us to. So they come up with the idea that they're going to make it look like they're letting them go. So they drop them off at the airport in Alaska. And Tim basically tells them, like, his leeway can only go so far, that he won't be able to get them out of trouble again. And he's just playing them. They end up going to San Francisco because Cate wants to go to her father's office in San Francisco to see if they can find the same type of clues and stuff that they found in his office in Tokyo. So May just wants to go back to Tokyo, but they convince her that no, like, you have to come with us, because she's like, May's saying to them, you're gonna get yourselves killed over those files. She's like, you can have the files, but they're gonna kill you over it. And they're like, and you think they're gonna leave you alone? Or, of course they're gonna come for you too, so you have to come with us. So they head back to San Francisco. Once we get to San Francisco, it gets really interesting as well, for a certain reason, which I'll come back to. Shaw and Verdugo come face to face, and she's trying to get answers from him, and he's basically saying to her, like, everything I know, you already know. She's like, what are in them files? The Monarch seems to be desperate to get these files, and Shaw is trying to explain to them, like, you know what's in the files. But before she comes into the room, he's just sitting in a room, like a interrogation room, and a video starts playing on the wall behind him from a projector, and they do this cool thing. So the video is what Bill Randa, of young Lee Shaw and Keiko. And the way you're looking at it is Keiko's on the far right of the screen and young Shaw's in the middle. But when Shaw turns around in the video, Kurt Russell turns around and they overlay Wyatt Russell's face partially over his face. And it looks cool because it really kind of shows you just how similar looking they are. And Verdugo, I'm probably saying her name wrong each time, but she comes in and says, like, I've never seen that video before. I think she said Kentaro had it. One of them had it on them. And they start talking, and she's trying to convince Shaw he's wasting time, and he's like, you're wasting time. You know everything that I know. So the three go back to San Francisco, and we meet a new character called James, who shows up. The dude seems to be super bloody tall as well. He's either hugely tall, or Cate, the girl who plays Cate, is tiny. He shows up to the airport. He's in a van, and they had hired a car, and he's saying, oh no, like, your mother sent me and all this, and Kate's trying to convince him, no, look, we're fine on our own, go on. He's like, no, I insist. So they go with him, And we meet Kate's mother, whose name is Caroline. I actually thought she said her name was Claire in the episode, but it's Caroline. May and Kentaro are gonna go for a walk. They're like, oh yeah, like we'll give you a bit of time on your own, because obviously Kate still hasn't told her mother about her father and Kentaro and his mother, and she just blurts it out to her. She's like, this is Kentaro Randa. So they come in, May and Kentaro go to Kate's room, and they have a bit of a talk, and it's basically Caroline sent her daughter Kate all the way to Tokyo because she had a suspicion that the husband was cheating on her, and basically didn't want to deal with it herself. So that's why Kate was actually sent. So Kate then tells her, look, we're going to Dad's office, and and they explain, by the way, you see San Francisco, and you see the pure destruction that was left behind from Godzilla fighting the Mutos. So Caroline tells them, like, you can't go there. That's a red zone. That the military are arresting looters, and rumours have it they're shooting some looters. But she's like, well, we're going one way, we'll go in with them. If they have a way in, we'll go with them. So James and Caroline bring them. They have the three of them in the back of the van, and they basically bribe their way in. They give their ID badges to the security with money. But the deal is, because Kate's mother says to her, like, you have to be back here by, I think she said 8:15. I think it's 8:15. It's either 8:15 or 8:30 the next morning. Because the deal they have with, there's at least one of the guards that's meant to do it, but he's always off sick apparently. But the new person let them through, kind of with the same deal. But the deal is that they come back out with the same people they went in with. So they go off. And what's interesting in San Francisco is that you find out they've quarantined basically the whole city off. It's called the red zone. It's all restricted. All the people who lived in San Francisco, including Kate and her mother and stuff, now live in like housing. I don't want to say projects. They're not really projects. They're actual houses, but it's basically like a shelter. But it's set up by FEMA. FEMA set it up for the survivors and basically the refugees of San Francisco City. But once Kate gets in there, because the first thing she starts noticing, and it's a great shot, you see it in the darkness and kind of with cloud going over the Golden Gate Bridge, and she starts getting the PTSD coming back again. It keeps kicking in, and the way they have to get to the office, her father's office, is she has to go past the school she was a teacher at. And of course, once she's getting closer to the school and stuff, her PTSD is getting worse and worse. So Godzilla's in this episode, but once again, it's through the flashbacks from her seeing them walk through the Golden Gate Bridge. We also find out she was gay. She had a girlfriend, and she doesn't say that. We just get that through one of her flashbacks, that her girlfriend wanted her to move in with her. We also find out a little later, when she has like a total breakdown, that after she was asked to move in, she has multiple girlfriends. She wakes up in bed with another girl. And the other girl's like, hey, is that you moving out or something? And this is when she had a big breakdown, which I'll get up to, but just that part. That's basically the only part with the whole kind of gay. And it's not like a big messaging thing with the whole, oh, she's gay. It's literally, she has a flashback of one of her routines in the morning, which was this coffee shop on the corner from the school. And her girlfriend just shows up and is like, hey, blah, blah, blah. They have a bit of a chat. But that's really that part, and her waking up in the bed, and it tells you like G-Day -2 was the day when this girl asks her to move in, and -1 is like the day she was in the bed with the other girl, I think. And then you get G-Day, and they almost get caught by the military, by the school, and the whole area is flooded with cats. There's cats everywhere. So they're almost getting caught by the military. And Kentaro throws a rock, sticks a rock in a bag of chips. Chips for you, Americans. Crisps for everybody else. Yeah. Throws it. And once it hits the ground, the military turns around and the cats are already on the bag, so he's just like, oh, it's more bloody cats. And they're all start laughing at him. He's like, I think we should just start shooting them. And they're like, ah, come on, dude. And he's like, I'm serious. He goes, they're bloody everywhere. And then, like, she has pretty much the real part of the breakdown starts because she's getting images because there's a bike on the ground, and one of the kids she taught, Cate, it's his bike or her bike when they got onto the school bus. And of course, that's the school bus that dropped off the Golden Gate Bridge. And once she sees the school as well, she has a flashback to the 2 days before Godzilla arrived, and she walks into her classroom and there's like a handful of students there, and they're looking on their phones, and she's like, where is everyone? They're like, oh, all the parents are freaking out because of, I'm assuming it was the attack in Hawaii, and they're like, oh, people are saying it's fake, we're not sure. And she looks at the phone and you see one of the Muto attacks. You very briefly see that, and I think that is the first attack in Hawaii. And she's like, you can't believe everything you see. And one of the teachers, it's either the teacher or the head master, comes in and says like, is everything okay? And she's like, yeah, we're just talking about, not believing everything you see. And this teacher or headmaster, whoever she is like, right, we're keeping an eye on things and stuff, and tell them all to keep their phones charged and in touch with their family and everything else. If we have to shut the school, we'll be shutting. And of course, the kids kind of overhear it and they're like, wait, are they heading towards us? And then you're kind of getting the flashbacks of her deciding not to stick with her girlfriend. She decides to go on the bus with the kids. And then when they're walking through the area again, like on their way to the office, they come across the military again. The military find them this time and chase them, and they run down into the subways. And when down there, they're hiding, and the military find a bunch of other people living down there. Where they're like, you can't. And they sneak off in the other direction. And because they sneak off and they're starting to go through rubble and tight spaces, Cate starts getting really, really big flashes of the PTSD of Godzilla's attack, because she's seen the rubble, and all she can picture then is that big lump of rubble that he managed to hit, that came down and hit the bus. Well, not the bus, it hit the bridge and sent the bus down into the... And that's when she has the breakdown of, you see her waking up in the bed, and she's also getting visions of her dad leaving her the day after that, which we spoke about ages ago, when he said, telling her, oh, you're strong, and he leaves. And she kind of takes that out on Kentaro, and he goes off to try and find a way out, because she starts freaking out saying, we're going to die down here. May tries to calm her down, and that's when Cate says like, she doesn't deserve this, and May's like, I don't think anyone deserves it. And she goes, no, like, and kind of, she doesn't flat out say, oh, I cheated on my girlfriend or something like that. She says like, I've been so shitty to people and all this type of stuff. But Kentaro finds a way out via following the cats. They get out and they're almost to the office building, and the office building is that big spiky triangle building in San Francisco. I have no idea what it's called. I can't remember what it's called. It's the building that in Mission Impossible, was it Rogue Nation or was it Fallout? No, it wasn't Fallout. I think it was Rogue Nation, that the missile skimmed off. That building. He works in that building. And Kentaro's like, what floor is Dad's office on? And she's like, he liked the view. So you're like, jeez. They get to his office. May makes a joke when they're about to unlock and goes, wouldn't it be hilarious if we open the door and there's nothing on the other side? Like it was all smashed away. It's not. It is there. They think, or Kentaro thinks, well, we know where to look, and pulls the map off the wall and there's no safe. But all these little flags pop out of it, and Cate realises, oh, hang on. He was marking stuff. And she wants to see the files. So May pulls up the files and they're like, realise it's like a star chart, but it's on the face of the earth. And Kentaro gets an idea. He traces little dots of areas, punches holes in it, gets them to put the poster up and sticks it up against the window because the sun has started to come up, so the light is coming through. And the pinpoints go onto sections on these lines on the map. And it points out Alaska, San Francisco, Africa, and they're thinking, this must be the trail he's taking, their father. The way the lines are and stuff, it's kind of like, are they hinting that these are points to go into the Hollow Earth? Maybe. It could be, because half the questions in one of the episodes was about, like, how are the Titans moving around without anyone ever seeing them? So obviously they go through the Hollow Earth and stuff like that. And it's one, you're kind of wondering, is that what this is marking up to be? The only other real bit with Shaw was that your woman, Verdugo, kind of starts trying to threaten him and wants to know, and he's like, everything this monarch is wrong, and you've been wrong for 60 years. And she's like, well, because he's talking about things, what monarch is and the files and stuff, and she's like, you're kind of just mixing words here and stuff. And then she tells him, I can bury you deep or I can bury you shallow, your choice. And he's like, now who's using words or mixing words? So Cate and May and Kentaro just about make it back to the van with Kate's mother, Caroline, and James. They leave. The mother has a conversation with May about, tells the truth. It's like, yeah, I was afraid of finding out that he was cheating. I could have gone to Tokyo, but I didn't. All that. May asks Kentaro how's he feeling. He's like, first time I feel like everything's not shit. She says, I'm just gonna take a walk. And she goes around the corner and she whips out her phone. May is the weak link because the card, I'm not sure if I mentioned that, the Val put a card down in front of her when she was saying, think about it and all the rest. She phones her and says, I want to go home, so what is it you want me to do? And she's like, yeah, smart girl. And it just ends with them, or Duval, watching the monitors of them walking Shaw somewhere. And that's where the episode ends. So May is definitely going to betray them. She was the weak link. So your only bits with Titans this week is flashbacks of Godzilla again, but you're definitely finding there's secrets that even Monarch aren't fully aware of, which is interesting. And Shaw is the one that really seems to have this information. And by the looks of things, the way Cate has kind of the PTSD and the visions of Godzilla and stuff, I think it's pretty safe to say at some stage she's going to be face to face with Godzilla again in this show. That'll be interesting. But there you go. There's the review for Monarch episode 5. They seem to have changed the release dates now to Fridays. So these will probably be out on Saturdays or Sundays. Unless they change it again. I don't know why they changed it, but they did. But with that, I will leave it there for this one. So cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.